Welcome to the MMHP in the 989. Channeling all styles and eras of Michigan music history from the city by the bay. And now, here's your host, Scott Baker.
Welcome back to part 2 here in the MMHP in the 989 with Mr. Pete Woodman. We're so grateful to have him come in the studio in December and give us all the past history and get us up to date with all the wonderful things that he's done musically as well as personally. His rock and roll history here in Michigan is par none, and we are so grateful for everything that he has contributed to our musical scene as well as nationally. And without further ado, we'll waste no time and get you guys right back into part 2 with Mr. Pete Woodman. Thank you again for tuning in to season 3 here in the MMHP in the 989. We'll be back here with season 4 in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Was question mark, were they in California during the Summer of Love?
Yeah, they were there when I was there with Meatloaf because they came to town.
Okay.
Yeah, they were there. Because I think we were playing in Huntington Beach. And yeah, they were there then. Yeah, because little Frankie, you know, it's amazing when I'm sitting down at the drums and look at those guys. You know,
I not little Frankie anymore.
Bobby and Frank. And one of my, when I play Freeland, I usually, Bobby and Frankie, I usually have them set in and play or all depends whoever dies that year. Like I had the thing for Dick Wagner and I had the thing for, Dick Fabian. I don't know who I do, but, and Sarah flies in from Europe. And Sarah is a yoga teacher in Brussels, Europe. So she flies in to do my show with me. So I love
This is your daughter, right?
Yeah, Sarah, my daughter. And she's a great singer, great entertainer, you know.
Yeah, it was a good show this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good show.
I got video of all of it.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
It's fun because they call me up, Freeland Park and Rec. They say, Pete, you're the first one, whatever date you want. So I always do August. And last year's the biggest crowd they ever had. They were lined up down there. We put on a pretty good show, I think, last year.
Yeah.
You know, I beat the shit right out of my drums every year. You know that.
Did you spend any time drumming for Seeger or anything? Did you ever do any work with him?
No, but...
Or Ted?
No, well, Ted, since we opened up for him, he knew my drumming real well.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to hang out with him when I moved it. And he asked me to play with him in 1970. He says, Pete, come on, he needed a drummer. And I was living on near 8 Mile Woodward. And I remember I'd go see him and I'd tape him a lot. And I says, I knew he was making a couple grand, $3,000. I says, well, how much is the pay? He says, $50. I said, nah, I can't do it. But anyway, I wish I would have for the,
historical part of it.
Yeah, but he was my buddy, and I played with him many times. Been on his radio show that he had and stuff. So I know Ted inside and out.
But you didn't get to do anything a whole lot with Bob, though, but you knew each other.
Yeah. But, Pepe, I was putting together a band, and I was Pepe's drummer when he did that, when Punch Andrews promised. Pepe was Bob Seger's drummer in the Herd. So I guess I go back a lot.
You said you knew Punch pretty well. That's why I wondered how that connected,
Yeah. Well, Punch, Punch from Bossmen were famous. Everybody knew who the Bossmen were. And Punch, knew Dick and everybody. And so he...
Now, what was Jim Atherton's?
Jim Atherton was Mark Farner's and Donnie Brewer's manager in the Pack. Because there was Terry Knight in the Pack. He managed that. Terry Knight left to do the Twiggy thing. And then Mark was with the Bossmen and just slid back in with Donnie and
Mel.
No, Mel wasn't in the band yet.
Oh.
Mel didn't get in the band until Graham Funk was born. So
you said Terry Knight did the Twiggy thing.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
Yeah, he managed her.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, he had. If we all, everybody out there, if they know him, he had a gift of gab. Everybody loved that guy. You know, he knew how to talk, and every Grand Funk show, you know, he would get out and introduce him. You know, I'm sure that was his thrill. You know, but I'm so sorry. You know that he was such a crook. You know, I remember Mark telling me. Mark says, one for Terry night, he says, I'll be on Easy Street. You know, Terry had him sign a lot of stuff that Mark didn't know what he was signing. Same thing with Rudy Martinez. He signed away all the rights to 96 Tears,
Yeah.
not knowing. So, yeah, and I have that stuff, you know, written down, and you're going to learn a lot by reading my book if I ever get it done. But I
You got a
have,
lot to get done, Pete.
but I have it all done. I just need to, you know, Sue and I are doing it now together, because I live in eras, the Bossmen era, Mean Machine era, Mysterians, whatever. Those are eras. But Sue knows all the dates and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the date. It's like I have no idea that I'm 80. I'm still, I'm not living in that number thing, and I don't think that way. I only think one way, and that's positive, and I win all the time. And all I can say is every day's the best day ever, you know? And it works for me.
Well, that's pretty good philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works, and I've been saying that for, I can't tell you how long.
Yeah. Well,
You'd be surprised if you, even you guys, if you went up tomorrow and see someone and all you said to them, hey, best day ever, they will smile at you or say, you're out of your fucking mind, and it's not the best day.
you know, the power of positive thinking.
Absolutely. It's like a smile, a verbal smile.
Yeah, when I worked at the McLaren Hospital, by the time I left, everybody was saying it. And now it's the same thing at Sam's Club. All the girls in the morning, best day ever. So, you know, I'm going, gee, when I start, but it's a positive thing. And being positive is everything. I can't tell you. Someone like me, like with missing digits or a cleft palate, I never think about that ever. I'm sure people see me and go, what the fuck happened? Or when I was little, they go, how do you pick up a spoon? You know, but when you have your thumbs, you know, I'm not good at shuffling cards or green, but when you have your thumbs, you can grip things and stuff. So I don't think about it, and I've always felt special. My mom and dad must have did something to me, but I never feel, I never have that negative, like walking with my hands in my pocket or, you know, girls don't care. I'm telling you, people don't care. Women, the most important thing to women, just being honest, you know, being a good person, having a good heart. And, you know, I can remember all the during the Bossmen era and all the famous as we were, the most important thing is all these girls that are around you or you take advantage of. And then when you get older, you go, man, they had low self-esteem because they would do anything. I've been driving down the road, take your shirt off. The shirt would be off. You go, wait a minute, you know. It's cool and fun at the time, but when you get older, it's kind of sad, you know.
Yeah.
Fred still makes that happen all the time. So. He works that washboard playing magic.
Yeah. But
Let's see your washboard.
it's groupies are groupies. What are you gonna do? You know. And but I'm just got a kid like me, so I've always felt good about myself, and never had a problem with, you know, the ladies or having, you know, meeting Sue, the love of my life, at Daniel's Den. Skinny blonde walked by, and I just reached out and grabbed her wrist. That was it.
Yeah.
I never let go, you know. And she probably wished that I would have. But no, we love each other. And my new girlfriend, I've been with 4 years. Here I am 80. This girl's 65. But she's very, very smart. And she's kind of chubby. And I don't care. the most important to me when you get older is up here.
Yeah.
You know, and how smart. She does medical billing for she did for 20 doctors, and she was making 130 a year, you know. I remember when I first met her, I said, yeah, I want a watch. They this watch? $300. I just wanted a Timex. You think? So it's you know, I'm just lucky, and she does all my medical stuff, and I'm very healthy. Anybody want to know out there, I just get it all done. Colonoscopy, echo for my heart, carotid for my neck, and so I just stay on top of it. You know, I never was a smoker, and I hardly drink at all. Smoke pot still off and on, but I can't help it. You know, it takes me back to what makes me happy.
Speaking of your drumming and you're making you happy and all the good times, take us into the 70s, 80s, and 90s. What were you doing through that period?
The 70s? Yeah, yeah, cool. I forgot about the 70s. 70s was great. The bands were playing 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week back then. Played all the time. You could play and make money. So Sue and I, and Jenny Seaman, and Danny Schaefer. Danny Schaefer's very famous guitar player in Nashville now, and he did Share Twang. He was on the road with her and all those girl singers. And anyway, he was from Owasso, I think. Mount Pleasant. And so we had a little band. We did Top 40 when we played all the clubs in Detroit. There was a ton of clubs. We played downtown. We played at 12 Mile in Woodward. We played, and Sue and I played a duo for a long time. Before that, when did we play a duo? We played the Playboy Club in Detroit. Remember the Playboy clubs were all over? It was amazing playing the Playboy, and the bunny walked by, you know. Mm-hmm. It was fun. They paid us really good money. Yeah, and that was the 70s, and I did that. You know, and Sue and I had always, you know, switch bands, or we'd get bands. We'd have a lot of bar bands back then, and let's see. And in the 70s, we did the Horny Toads, and the guitar player in the Horny Toad was David Levine, the rhythm guitar, and we had a band called the Duck Band. So we did. He did his own tunes, you know, they were real funny. But anyway, we did that. So that's mostly what I did in the 70s. And then the 80s came, Urban Cowboy come out, right? Mm-hmm. So Sue and I put together a country band. And we had a kick-ass country band. We had guitar, singers, we did all the tunes, you know, the Wiper tune, and Sue would sing all Patsy Cline and all those tunes and stuff. And we had a steel guitar player. And back, that was 81. I remember John Lennon got shot, and then I remember thinking, fuck, it should have been the president instead of him. You know, everybody loved John Lennon. Mm-hmm. When that era of country was out, it was the bands. Like, we were making $2,600 for 5 nights, 4 of us. So Sue and I we were knocking it down then. And I remember she didn't give me much for my allowance, come to think about it. I have that money. Now I'm thinking about that. But anyway, we did that. We were one of the top country bands. And we went, this lady gave us a couple $grand, and we went in the studio and we cut Texas Heartache. And I have to give you a copy because Sue sings her ass right off on it. It's a great tune. And we just getting ready to release it. Sue and I were playing a duel then. I think that band broke up. The name of the band, great name, the Freeland Star Band. People say Freeland Star Band. I'm from Freeland, but Freeland Star is the name of my dad's newspaper that he had in Freeland just before he went and got a job in at Dow Chemical Company. Freeland, my mom did the typesetting, and they would, you know, write in Freeland.
Wow.
Freeland Star. Anyway, Freeland Star was the name of my country band. And I remember Sarah, after a while, I remember she said, Dad, we got to change the name. And which it became the hits, what we use now.
Right.
But after that, after the country thing, what did we do? I can't remember after country.
I saw a picture of you and Susie as clowns.
Yeah, we did that in the 70s. That was called. Sue's name was Sousaphone, and she wore clown makeup, and she played the keyboard. And then I was Peter Paradiddle, and I wore a clown suit and had clown boots on, shoes on. I still got them, or I could play. I hardly can play. And we played K to 6. So we'd get all set up. We'd come to school, get the biggest kids to help us load. We'd set up. I'd have my little tree with a triangle and a baby cymbal and bells hanging and my siren and whistle. And Sue had her Wurlitzer and a Pro R synthesizer. And she would come out first and explain the instrument, what the synthesizer did. And she'd keep looking at it. She'd say, "Where is Peter Paradiddle? God, he's late. He's late." So then I'd be coming down the hall with a bass drum beater, beating, coming in. And I would beat, the kids would all clap. And she would yell at me because I was late. And being on time is very important. And Silly Love Songs was out by Paul McCartney. Whatever year that was. So our show was Love Song. So we'd sit down, and Sue would go play the circus song, and I go, "No, stop! Kids don't want to hear that. They want to hear rock and roll." And every time you said, "I don't give a shit how old that kid is," they all clap. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, they wanted to hear that rock and roll. They didn't want to hear the classical stuff we were playing, like 3/4 stuff. And then we'd play songs, and we'd bring each kid up, and Sue would play flute, and we'd do Yankee Doodle Dandy, and the kids would sing, and they would clap, and it was a good show. I always wanted to do a TV show with that, but that didn't happen. But I wanted to do that.
And that was in the 80s?
That was, when was that? No, I think that was in the 70s.
Okay.
When was Silly Love Song out?
I'd say 80, around there.
That could have been the 80s.
It could have been late 70s, though.
Late 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, we did that song, we did, and then we did Captain of Tennille, remember what song that was.
Yeah, well, that's probably late 70s then, okay.
Yeah, okay, but, yeah, see, I go by eras, I don't know dates. Thank you, you guys. And by the way, I'm having the best time ever. Thank you.
Well, we
so
love
much.
having you here, Pete, I'll tell
We're
you.
grateful to have you here.
And it'll be great having you help me with some of my stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
because
on the
you got to
table.
get that out.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, we're connected on Facebook. We can talk on the private messaging and get a hold of each other. I got your number too, so.
Yeah, I am. I know. Sarah says, "Dad, you got to learn how to text." And I said, "No, I'm answering. There's a number. Just call me. On the phone. Nobody calls on the phone. Nobody.
I know I'm guilty of that.
And also, see what you in the 90s. I played with Mark Arshak for about 4 years, and we played all over Michigan. He's a blues guitar player from Jackson area, and I remember I booked us at White's Bar. Both. I went to his birthday party. Did you go to his birthday party?
I missed it.
Anyway,
I think Mike was there.
I think Mike's got it on video.
Yeah, I saw Susie there, but I missed you.
Yeah, I got great pictures of her and him and I and stuff. And
Did he remember you?
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he remembered me. Yeah, I went right up. Said,
No, I know, but
yeah, he had dementia from us.
Yeah.
And his daughter says, "Pete, hurry up, play at the White's Bar, and then bring a band in there, So I want to do that, but I just haven't had time to do it, So now anyway, after
You brought Mark Arshak up to White, you said?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the biggest crowds. That they had a big article on me in the front page on our local little paper. I can't think of the name of it. What's the name of it?
Second on news?
No.
The review.
Well, Martin.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
Bob-
a
second review.
Oh, the Bear
magazine.
Review.
Review magazine.
I was on the front page, and man, he says this is the biggest crowd we ever had, you know, and Bob Dyer and Dick Fabian, which are my buddies, I had them open up for me, you know, and they would introduce me and stuff. So I remember I went back, Bob Dyer and Sue and I, and we went back and had a joint. Bob Dyer's hitting away, you know, man, get down.
Whoa. I have a hard time,
Yeah.
picturing that.
Yeah.
I know he was crazy man. Bob Dyer, he was something else. And praise the Lord for Dick Fabian and Bob Dyer, and I know we made them a lot of money, but we played all those clubs with them, and they made a record #1, and same way with Question Mark, you know, they made their #1 in Bobdale at WTAC. I mean, now I go to myself, how in the world could you ever make it? Even if you had a great band,
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody makes it. I don't get it. That era's over. You know?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I tell people that on my Facebook, I got around 2,000 or 3,000 people on my Facebook, and they're always coming. And Bossmen are always on there. I'm thinking the other day, I'm going, you know, that was a long time ago. And I get pictures, so every time if you're on my Facebook and you see something, it's not that I put it on there. It comes to me, and then I put my 2 cents in on what was going
Yeah, I
on.
see Don Richard. He puts a lot on.
And Don runs the Dick Wagner page. And Don,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, Don Richard. Yeah, he's in Canada, but he's the one that'll correct me on certain.
He's in Canada?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
lives in
lives in
Canada.
Canada.
Yep.
Yeah,
He's a really good Dick archivist himself. When he brought me, him and Ray York brought me into the studio for Dick's last 3 years there to work with him as a journalist, and Dick handed me over the archives at the time, and Don was doing other stuff, and Ray was doing production, and we were doing a lot of stuff up to 2003.
yeah. I think in the '90s we did Dick and Lanny and I did a reunion at the Y. I have
Yeah, I
Yep.
was there.
Yeah, I was there too.
yeah, and God, the worst room it just echoed, and Warren died already, so I got Bobby from the Pack to play keyboards with us. Another time when we played in Bay City, the Bossmen with a reunion. Who else played?
The Rationals.
Yeah.
I booked them at that one.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a great show, and you guys had me thinking about, geez, this was a lot of life, you know. I've been doing so many things, you know, but I have a great memory. So when I started writing my book, I mean, I go right back to kindergarten, you know, and I remember seeing when I first started to play, I was only that high, you know, just learn how to play, but it's, I've always been a picture nut, so I've always taken a lot of pictures. You know, great pictures of Mark and I, and Jerry Lee Lewis, and you know, all my little Jim Harbaugh, and you know, all these guys that are, you know,
Icons themselves, like
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
Willie Nelson and I, you know.
Well, the Bossmen were our Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you play with Willie Nelson?
No, but I knew him real well,
Mhm.
and I got a great picture of him and I.
Did you get to go in the bus? No.
No, I've been on many buses, but this is
I mean, his bus.
no,
Okay.
no, I didn't get high with the master.
Fred's like, hey, I want to hear
I
this
probably
stuff.
already was. But he was so nice, man. He'd give me a big hug. Or if you see the picture, he was so cool. And his sister just died, the piano player. That was with him forever, man.
Yeah.
So he was quite a kid, that's for sure.
How did you meet him?
John Anderson. You remember the Jumping Cowboys?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Kenny
his-
Roberts.
His son, you know,
Bobby.
Bobby, Bobby and his brother did it too. But anyway, Bobby and I are real close. So John Anderson had out swinging and everything, and he was his manager. And Vern Peddler lived up by me, so I knew him. So when I went to see John Anderson, here's Bobby. Go, Bobby, what are you doing here? He said, I manage it. He has a big successful booking agent in Tennessee. But he's retired now. He doesn't do it anymore. But so when I'd come to see John Anderson, who I'm good friends with, he'd send a golf cart to bring me in. He was always, he's always made me feel special. Hung out backstage, and even when Warren was with Hank Jr., just hanging out with him, it just was cool, And Hank Jr. would say, Pete, you can't play drums for me. You got a beard. Then after he fell off the mountain, he had a beard. So,
I remember that era too. Another great Michigan drummer, Bubba Grudner. I think you know Bubba. He went down and played with Dolly Parton, and he was on one of her records at the time too.
Yeah. Michigan's got great musicians. And Warren Keith called me 100 times to come to Nashville. In the middle of the night, he'd be calling. He'd be with that guy that sang the cigar song. What's his name? Country guy.
A cigar song?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I don't know. It doesn't ring a bell.
Not me either.
Yeah, I'll think about 5 cents for that. Anyway.
Did Warren die when he was with Hank Williams Jr.?
No. He died, I don't know, he died alone in a hotel, I knew that. And what's great about Warren, when I get ready to write about him, when Mark Archak and I played in Adrian, that's where Warren lived. He'd drive all the way from Adrian to Freeland. It's amazing when I think about it. And so I played there at Mark, and the guy texts me and he says, "You're coming to Adrian?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, I'm writing the autobiography on Warren Keith." So he met me there, and I'm hooked up with him when I get ready. And Warren's son looks just like him, so I'm connected to Warren's son. But I don't know too much about. But I know they told me he was going around with a Bible in his hand for a while, and Warren had a good heart, man. But he left us a lot of pain. Sorry, he was just getting ready to do a bypass or something, and he died. And didn't make it. But he was great, Warren. And I remember Lanny and I, when the Beatles, the picture at the hotel. I think I got in there. You could see the picture of the Bossmen, how Warren and Dick had their hair combed back. Their wives would not let them comb their hair down. So Lanny and I, we started combing our hair down right away. We were, God, this is cool. So I remember then finally, they started combing their hair down. Dick and stuff. So. But I always, even when I hung with Mark, I used to tell Mark, you got to start writing your own songs, Mark. I mean, what the fuck? This is America. And in Mark's book, it mentions that I helped him. I don't know what I did, but anyway, it says Pete told me to write songs or something like that.
Yeah.
So when I look back at all these guys, it's not that I have a feather floating around, but if I wouldn't have hired Meatloaf, there'd be no Meatloaf. And if I wouldn't have hired Dick Wagner, there'd be no Only Women Bleed. It's funny how I have my little fingers. Well, I can say little fingers. How I weave in and out of all these people with Mark and Dick and
bless you.
Excuse me.
And bless you. But it's amazing when I look back on stuff like Danny Schaefer. If I would have got him in the band, he went to Nashville and did what he did and stuff. So it's
that's why you got to write that book.
Yeah, the Pete Woodman linchpin.
Yeah, it's funny how many.
I've seen part of it.
Yeah.
Well, the
right.
CD part.
Yeah, you see. Yeah, I mean, I got a ton of stories, and when Sue and I talk about them, and what's great about her is remembers everything, dates, times. And she was a girl piano player, a musician back in the 60s, and how was that for her? What she tells about that, what it was like. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Her podcast was pretty amazing to hear some of those stories.
Yeah,
when we taped hers. Yeah.
Yeah, she says, Pete, make sure you mention that. I did already. But Sue's got a big heart of gold. You know, she'll do anything. And the thing about her is she's a great keyboard player. I mean, and Sarah, my daughter's a great singer. If I was going to hire people, I would hire them, but they're family. So it's a big thrill to be playing the drums and looking, there's your ex. Who knows? We just look at each other. We know what's going on. You think Sarah turns around while she's shaking? She's going like this, Dad, you're too fucking loud. Or she goes, Dad, too fast, Dad, too fast. With a smile on her face. You know, so I know that when I pass, she's got all these great memories. Sue and Sarah and my son Peter, who's a great rapper when he was 16, 17. Now he's married with 6 kids, and he's a cook. But Petey was great. And he was a good drummer. Never played in the band his life. He was, a good drummer. So it's funny having the Woodmans, and my grandson Ryan, 16, is playing guitar and bass. So I guess when you get in that, like Sue's dad was a great guitar player. My dad played piano. My mom played piano. My brother Mike played clarinet. My brother Rocky played trombone. And the great story is that I remember sitting down, my dad playing grand piano in our living room in Freeland. Me, and I had my drums with brushes, and Rocky had the trombone, and Denny had the clarinet, and we played Moon Indigo. Moon Indigo, that little old jazz beat. I'd be playing a brush and my dad would be playing. And I never took that for granted. A little family band. How great was that?
Right.
Yeah.
To go on. And all through high school, I played, we had a band called the Beboppers. And we played the assemblies and stuff. And I played the dance band, orchestra. I played Pop and Circumstance. I bet you I played that fucking song a million times. That was my turn when I was a senior. Because we played it in Freeland, every year. So I was in, 5th grade? Anyway, all the way up to 9th grade. Then went to Saginaw Arthur Hill and played it 2 years there. So I played that song many times. And going to Saginaw Arthur Hill was great because all my buddies, we're still friends. There was 700 of us. There was only one black student. So that the era, Saginaw High was on the other side. But it was, I was lucky to go there. Thank God I didn't have to go to Midland. My older brother, Michael and Connie, went to Midland High School. And they both passed because my sister was a smoker. And, she passed, I think, when she was 79, and then my brother Mike made ceramic tile. The dolphins and the ball and all that. He did all that in Fort Lauderdale, and the films from the kiln. So he died at 80. So I got 2 gone, and my younger brother Rocky, who only goes as far as he's a smoker, as his little oxygen thing will go. So it's amazing. Here I am, healthy. I still feel the same as I always did. And I'm going, thank God I never smoked or never took LSD or, maybe it's because, I just lucked out and didn't do that. But I had many, many offers to get high, and do that stuff. So I'm glad I didn't do it. And Sue's the same way. She was always, very paranoid. And so maybe that probably saved me. Well, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to the book. We look forward to the archives. You got a lot coming in the next few years, I imagine. And
yeah, I got a lot going on. And I'm going to take, I'm doing a drum thing. I'm doing a version of Let There Be Drums. And what's great about me being in Detroit, I know the greatest players, and they all come and play. I said, come on and play,
Mm-hmm.
So I got a lot to look forward to.
And by the time this podcast airs, chances are it's going to be in spring or summer. So it's going to be good timing for your Freeland gig next year, eh?
Yeah, let me invite everybody to my show. Now, I'm going to do a blues show this year. And boy, have we got some great blues guitar players that are just great. And John Sinclair might come up and do the show. And, if everybody knows his routine, he can talk. He's a talker he's a poet.
Poet, yes.
That talks. And I remember, and he has a band playing behind him. And then between verses, we kind of jam out and then we go back into the groove with him. And he might come up. And Bobby Balderamma, who has 2 #1 records now, we're going to do those. And Sarah will probably sing the tune he has out now, I Will Love You or Love Me or I'm the One, is the name of it. And it's a great tune.
Mm-hmm.
And and Bobby and I also do, I had prostate cancer in 2013 at 2, and at 4 I got it fixed. Radiation for 5 days, 8 weeks, gone. So anyway, but I told Bobby about it, and Bobby was at like 5 or 6, and if I wouldn't have told him about it, there'd be no Bobby Balderamma. And so he went and got that, he went and he always said to me, Pete, you saved my life. But, he just was a good listener.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, him and I did a broadcast together on Facebook together, and we talk about our experiences and how everybody should get a PSA. PSA is your count in your blood. If you go get a blood test, you're either at 2, 3, but if you're at 5, 6, 7, 8, you're in deep trouble. Or I go like this in my book. If you can't spell your name in the sand or in the snow, you better go to a neurologist. So, and the medical part of my book is great because, back in the 40s, you could not just drive anywhere. You had to have a special pass to go anywhere because they were collecting back then. But that's in my book, the whole thing. So all my plastic surgery got done in 1941 in Blodgett Hospital in Grand Rapids. And then I got my new plastic surgery done with my new nose and cleft palate in 1989 with Dr. Ian Jackson, who was the head of the Mayo Clinic. So he was the Eric Clapton of plastic surgery.
Yeah.
And don't I look good? My new nose, I love it.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, when I got it done, nobody noticed. I mean, it used to be flat and it had a bump and crooked and typical cleft palate nose and stuff. And when you get work done, people will say, God, you look good. I never talk about it. Even when I had cancer, I never, said, hey, I got cancer.
Well, that's a good thing, though, Pete, because if they don't notice it, that means that it looks very natural and it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's actually a compliment, I think.
Yeah, well, he was, Eric Clapton on the plastic surgery. He was great, man. And it was cool, So I was lucky to get all my work done. And when you're a musician, you're going to die. Because if you don't have insurance, it's really hard, very hard to stay healthy, because you're going, well, you don't go take care of it. A lot of players that I know through the years, if they would have had insurance, they'd still be here,
Mm-hmm.
And the only time they get help is it's too late,
Right.
They pass out or whatever. The disease has been telling them over and over. So, man, all I can say is to everybody out there, if you're listening to someone that's supposed to be an old man and not be able to walk good or hear good or whatever, hey, take care of yourself. Think positive. Be a good listener. And go get all your medical stuff. And all you ladies out there, you have your boyfriends your dads or whoever, you tell them to go get a test and see what their PSA, because you could be saving their life. Because men don't like to go to doctors. So you women out there can say, hey, how's it? And he's going to go, what's that? And then you'll notice if he can't spell his name. And they're saying, you'll know right away, because the worst feeling is when you got to go, buddy, you got to go, and you can be driving your car in line, whatever. I remember when I was going through that, I remember seeing the guy at the thing and going, God, that guy's peeing great. I'm a little gay there, but I'm going, wow, I wish I could do that. But now that I got it fixed, I do that. So, but your health is so important. I mean, when I sit down on my drums, it's like home. It's like, God, thank you, Jesus. I'm playing my drums. Or when I hold my sticks, and that idea, I'm sure I'm not the only one that put a golf grip on a drumstick. I mean, I cannot be the only one.
Well, that's a pretty good idea. I don't know. I've never seen it before.
And I know I'm not the only one that says every day is the best day ever. It's just that my little group of friends or people that know me, that's what I say. And that's the name of my autobiography, is Every Day is the Best Day
That's
Ever.
A great title. Yeah.
Because that's me. And that it spreads. I don't know why, but it just spreads. So I think I'm pretty. My mom and dad did a pretty good job. And if I need something, I want something, I'm not scared to ask. And I never ever wanted to be in a position of going, I wish I would have.
Right.
Or a lot of people that come to me on my Facebook, I write back to them, just think, you were there. You were there, like you guys see me play other times. You were there and you felt the vibe and what was going on in that era, the hell with Vietnam or whatever. But we didn't care. We were right, we were doing our thing, man. And just like today, you see all those protests, they're just doing their thing, they're just trying to make it right. But, so what are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
Well, Pete, will you come back and join us again when your book and your archives come out?
Yeah, that'd be great. And
All right.
Thank you. And don't forget, come to my show. It's going to be a great show. And I will beat the shit out of my drums for you.
All right.
We'll be there.
And I hope Sarah will fly in for that. But, Susie will be there. And it's going to be a blues one. And it gets bigger every year for me. I should ask for more money. But I do get more money than anybody else gets that plays there. But the funny thing is in Freeland, doing that, because when Dick and I played there, and I was just a drummer. It was always Dick Wagner show, and I was always just the drummer, Then after when he passes, then all of a sudden it's like the baton, that's the right word, just passed on to me. I'm going, shit, I got to talk and put on a show, and, you got to make everybody feel happy. And I never leave my show without going out in the audience and shaking your hands or telling them thank you. And I hug skinny ones, fat ones, short, I don't care. I hug them all. It doesn't make any difference to me.
Pete Woodman, the last man standing from the eras. All right. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah,
Every day is the greatest, best day, buddy. All right.
That was great.
Thank you.
The MMHP is hosted on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and our own Libsyn podcast site. You can also search MMHP 989 on Facebook for up-to-the-minute information, as well as both Dr. J and Sir Fred's album picks of the week, posted every weekend. You can connect with Scott on the web at scottbakermusic.com, Dr. J at michiganrockandrolllegends.com, Sir Fred at fredrife.com, brought to you by Michigan Rock and Roll Legends, located both inside the Bay County Historical Museum on Washington Avenue, as well as Scotty's Sandbar on Evergreen Drive at the Bay City Middle Grounds.
On behalf of the hosts, Gary, Dr. J. Johnson, Sir Fred Rife, archivist and videographer Mike Beatty, and myself, this podcast wouldn't be here without Studio 163's Alan Garcia, the voice of MMHP, Mr. Eddie Switek, all of our guests, and you, the listeners.
You've been listening to the MMHP and the 989. From all of us at the podcast, we want to thank you for tuning in.
Hey, I love you guys.
Yeah, man.
How do I get out of here? Can I just...